We are live. Key. Thank you all for attending. And I hope Mr. Trump is watching, or someone could get this to him, or someone who knows him listens, so that they can radiate to him and maybe get the message as to really where he should be coming from. Yeah. So this is going to be a little bit about the process that we've gone through. They call it 1776 reenacted. Yeah, that people who are violating, the White House, and stormed the White House and went into Congress. They literally see themselves as reenacting 1776 and making it right. So they're under the illusion, under this guy, that he is Washington. He's everything to do with the government of the United States, that all the way down to the origin of 1776. According to him, everything was bad. It went wrong, didn't go right, it went wrong. Yeah. So every president, every action, every war, every circumstances, how they were dealt with, all those things, according to Trump, was done wrong. Yeah, done incompetently. So that's the swamp. The swamp is America. The swamp is our history. The swamp goes all the way back to 1776, all the way back to our independence of this guy, where we were trying to get independent of this guy. We didn't know it was this guy. Yeah. But it was all the things in the world that was keeping people from democracy, human rights and freedom and happiness and joy and all that kind of good stuff. Yeah, so here we have the situation that happened, and now people have to look at it. They have to consider it, what happened, and how did it happen? What were the steps that brought it to that? Yeah. So we look at the people who were his Trumpians, Trump supporters, and you listen to what they say, and as they're being built up, and this goes over from way before this election. He started off the election with insurrection. Yeah, this is not going to be a fair election. We're going to have to do something, because it's a good chance they're going to rig it, them dirty Democrats. Yeah. And this is, just watch and listen to the things the man has said that's led up to these moments. And he's only instilled in people a very specific image of non-democracy. Yeah, what it's like not to trust or have faith in or continue working in a democratic reality. Yeah, but have it impressed upon, even though we have no reason to not believe in it, we have to focus upon not believing in it. Yeah, you step away from believing in it. Literally, through him, the focus is don't believe it. Don't believe it. Yeah. So then QAnon comes in, and conspiracy comes in, and Dominion, and all this stuff. About conspiracy. Millions. 8 million people voted him out of office. It's hard to imagine where in his mind he's thinking this, but you have to consider the devil. Number one, energy that made the devil do what he did to God was pride. Yeah. He simply could not see God. He could only see himself compared to God and what it would be like to be in God's position. To sit on that throne. Read the Bible. Read it. You should really read it. Because in it tells you about this devil who over time, all through time, even Jesus had to deal with him every day of his life. Every day, and died because of it. But no one listens to this that I'm telling you. Yeah? That there is a constant incarnation of the devil. And the devil, all the way to the point of Genesis and to the point of the creating of Adam and the first breath of Adam and the standing up and looking at the sunlight and seeing everything, the next thing he sees is Lucifer staring at him with disdain and anger and really pissed off. Claiming that it is impossible for God to incarnate. He won't accept it. And that this Adam must have mortal weaknesses because he's human. And he knows how everything can fall. So he doesn't put any faith. And he says, I will not bow down to you. I will not tell anybody that you're God. I will do everything to get everybody to disbelieve in you. Because this is my planet. And I'm going to be in charge of heaven too. And I will win this battle. I will win this battle. That's Satan. That's what Satan says to God. And this is who we have here. This guy, this is how he talks to humanity. He's got to get humanity to go against God, which is the truth. If you're elected, what could be the outcome? Let's say there's only 8 people in the room. 8 people. And you're only 8 people on the whole planet, and one of you wants to be in charge. And we used to have a couple hundred, but because of this, people kill people to be in charge, to be the number one. That's humanity. That is what goes on. That's our world. That's our history. And that's why we have this guy sitting there. We just don't believe in our past. We don't believe that, we take over countries and we treat Indians like slaves and we treat other people like slaves and we are hostile, aggressive, uncaring, demanding, prideful. And usually it's because you got something of pride behind you. A queen, a king, a leader. Usually you have a leader somewhere. And you've taken a stance. And this is what you believe. You could be a pilgrim. You still have a leader. You come over to America and you're 30 people and you go off and build a village. Are you going to unite? Are you going to be friends? Are you going to do the Christian thing? Which is really just being good human beings, good neighbors, caring, fellowship. No real dogmatic religion of killing people because they lied. You don't, people lie because they're afraid. People don't want to do wrong, but the devil makes them do it. And we don't understand that. We don't understand the devil. So here we've got this guy, and the devil makes you do it, people. The devil makes you do it. And where I come from, there are symptoms that come with it. First of all, you're stupid. You're more stupid than most people. That's a requirement. I'm not saying everybody's stupid. I'm saying people who fall into the grip of the devil are stupid. And their IQ is low. They don't graduate. They may graduate, but they're the stupidest ones in the group. It's easy to get a BA or a doctorate and all this stuff and still be stupid. Still be prejudiced, still be biased, still go home and beat your wife. So it's that stupidity, that ignorance, that low level of mind and emotions and the way you perceive the physical world and how you demand pridefully, what you want out of it. Yeah. And it just, it moves those glamours into little dictator, big dictator. Yeah. Nearly every house has a dictator. That's scary, huh? Yeah. Nearly every single house. Which one of you is the dictator in this house? Is this house of plenty? Is this house of peace? Yeah. No dictator at all? None? No tyrant? Yeah. No one keeps their stuff, gets angry if you get near their stuff. No one who gets angry? Yeah. Anger manipulates people. Yeah. It's a dictator's way of behaving to get things happening. Destroy the emotional body. It's like Trump. If anybody goes against him, he immediately jots out immediately to destroy their emotion, their credibility immediately. You're a terrible news person. The media only tells lies. And once you've destroyed that part, the person just bounces up and down emotionally, trying to recover from being attacked. It's an attack. It's just like a physical attack. It's a psychological attack. Yeah. And it affects you. Yeah. And if you're attacked enough, and you're weak, and you're not that smart, you'd think Barr was a really smart guy, but he's not. There are smarter. He's obviously not smart. And the lady who does all the news, everything, she talks like a really smart person. She gets her notes together and she's ready before you ever ask a question. How's that possible? But she does it. Yeah. Because she's manipulative. That's her job. She's there to tear you down. Discourage your interaction of trying to find the truth. All the way from the coronavirus to today, ask her a freaking question, people. You don't want to. You don't want to ask her a question. She won't give you an answer. She'll tear you down. It's that kind of person. It's just a bunch of dictators in that office. Barr was a dictator. Yeah. Trump is a dictator. Yeah. That lady's a dictator. Yeah. His son's a dictator. His daughter's a dictator. His wife is a dictator. I mean, just listen to any of the things her friends and people close to Melania say. Holy shit, this lady's major controlling. I mean, where's the happiness in any of this? Yeah. Everything is under that influence of pride. Yeah. And it weakens us all. Yeah. We go to baseball games. The only reason you're there is pride. Yeah. You pick a team, and you stand behind it only because of pride. You have more to life than pride. Yeah. Does that make sense? If you go to work and you make money and you're working with a bunch of other people, the only interest you have is how much you are making. You don't really give a shit how much the other guy's making unless they're making more because of pride. Yeah. And then the people in charge, they'll play you against each other because of pride. Yeah. They know pride is the human failure, the human fault. And it is fake strength. Yeah. That's why Trump says you got to have strength. Get your strength. Strength is pride. Yeah. Yeah. And building up people into pride. Yeah. So imagine he tells everybody, they're gonna all these voting by mail, and early voting, and all that kind of stuff. Shit could go wrong, So he plants seeds. Plant seeds. Yeah. Negative seeds of outcome. And those planted seeds are for the future. So he can go back and say, I told you so. Now, I'm going to water those seeds. And I'm going to say it every day. It is corrupt. We're going to sue. He waters the seeds. Keeps watering the seeds. And he goes everywhere. Yeah. And all he does is take up a lot of time focusing upon pride. He has no other outcome. He doesn't have any other ray or quality other than the first ray. Yeah. And that first ray, in where I come from, first ray and fifth ray is a sign of Satan. Yeah. That's the sign where all war and hostility, and when you're jealous, that first ray and fifth ray will move you to become hostile and do something terrible. Yeah. A second ray and fourth ray would allow you to step back. See it for what it is. It's not good. It's not good. It's heartbreaking. But it's not death. Yeah. It's not disease. It's not going to harm you in any way, shape, or form. Yeah. So it depends on your ray energy as to how you deal with life. And as a Buddhist, we try and get people to meditate, do invocations of prayer, listen to those prayers of virtue, and instill those virtues by remembering those virtues in the process of life. Yeah, that's Buddhism, or it could be called Christianity. Yeah, but there is a science to it, an active science that's involved in it. And I bet you 10 to 1 that man does not practice this science. Yeah, and how many out there practice this science? Yeah, how many out there spend their time, seeking to change their pride, seeking to change, not looking for fault in yourself, but be willing, because every day it's happening, and that's an opportunity that day for transfiguration, an opportunity for the integration of the soul with the personality, and the personality is going to react first, so it really is a science. It's a science of the soul, and you have to be kind of like a psychologist, an esoteric psychologist, that looks at things and understands things in ways that you've gained by developing virtue. After developing virtue and understanding that there's a difference between all these virtues, glamours, and things like that, and you start seeing them in people, and you've gotten rid of a lot of them in yourself, which allows you to see them in people. Yeah, you can't see them if you got someone out there instilling in you vices, lies. Yeah, imagine someone tells you, that here we are, we're going to vote. We're 8 people, 10 people, 12 people in a room, and we're going to vote for one of these people. Yeah, and that, as time goes on, sometimes, because it's a battle of the dog eat dog, then as time goes on, you could end up with the most evil, prideful person who desires to be president than the most compassionate one that fits in with masses of other compassionate people that you can select from to have a good president. But if that's not the case, if we're people who play football, enjoy a good military bout, watch boxing, and not understand the relationship of an argument as an evil act, even the subtlest aspects of hate have to be completely annihilated. Yeah. But if those things aren't part of what we're doing, then we're easily moved. And like a cult, we can be easily moved. That's why football goes on, baseball goes on. It's seasonal, people. And then you got Christmas, and you got New Year's, and you got your Thanksgiving, And only because your pride is unrequited love. Yeah, by building pride constantly. You keep doing this. If you keep doing this, all you're going to do is build pride. You have no idea that that's the outcome. Yeah, and you may live your life in the nicest way, but still you watch football and you go, I'm an A's fan. Still, I don't like those people. Still, I can't talk with other people who are, fans of the opposite side. Those things. You're dealing with life, and life has to be the truth. And if you instill it and become part of this, this thing that is creating hate on many levels, slowly but surely, we will get a cult leader. And you'll have cult leaders left and right all the time. You just go through them like they're nothing. And then you don't know you have cult leaders. You have people in Congress. I can go into Congress today, and wipe that place out. No harm. I wouldn't do anything. I wouldn't say anything. But I would confront them, with the truth. Because they're all prideful, selfish people. And they have to stop that in order not to be subject to the influence of pride on a higher level that'll control them so that they can be seduced under the payment of, oh, okay, I'll fulfill your pride. Jump on my bandwagon. And all those people, Republicans, just because they're Republicans. If you understand what I'm saying, this is important. Because baseball, basketball, Republican, Democrat. It's a recruiting process in order to create separation. And yet they're saying this unifies us. Join a baseball team. It makes you a team. Makes you become complementary as a team person, working with the team. But have you ever been in a team? It's not really a team, folks. One's playing against another. And there are people sitting on the bench waiting for people to fall or break their bones or whatever so that they can take that position. It's a single, prideful, individual process. And we think it's a team. We think it's sports. But it's not. It's very individual. And the process is that it pushes us. It's like a drug. It creates a habit. And that instills us to be more and more sensitive, as though this is what we should be doing. I mean, imagine all these coliseums. If you drive by them, they're totally empty. They're totally empty. They're just absorbing energy. You turn those lights on, holy mackerel. Sure, someone pays the bill, but who's going to build the infrastructure to create that electricity? That's crazy. When we're trying to become, people who have solar, even on our cars, solar on our house, no need for plugging in, and yet we're going to have something like that? We want to create water that recycles itself and creates a wonderful ecological reality for the future. Common sense, high-minded stuff. No pride. No pride. Really, you have to swallow your pride to enter this field. You have to swallow your pride. To be minimal, you have to swallow your pride. Okay, I don't need those shoes. Okay, that's fine. That took years to get those 5 pair of shoes out of your closet. Years. And you still got a kitchen that's a mess. And you always think, well, if I can just organize it, if I only have more time. And then I can include exercise and yoga and, all these things I know I should be doing. But it's pride. It's the element of pride, and we have no idea that pride takes the place of our heart. And our heart has the strength and quality of letting go. Yeah, and that's where you get strength. That's where you get courage. That's where you get all this energy in order to reduce pride. It's the only thing. It's the only thing that will protect you from the devil. Is minimalism, humility, a humble life. Yeah, a humble life. I mean, good Lord, you can have an auto-drive Tesla, you know. You can fly planes, yeah. You can live in homes. You could eat organic food, yeah. You can eat every day, yeah. But you can do that with humility, yeah. And that just means that you're going to look at everything you're doing, you're going to consider everything you're doing, and you're going to find out that you really only need to do very minimal things. Yeah? You don't need all those things because your mind is so overwhelmed with pride that it creates this facade of an astral plane, of a desire body that is totally delusionary and temporary. Yeah, you know, so and that's everything. Yeah, that means your relationships, that means your job, that means how you feel about somebody. That super sucks. I mean, how are we ever going to feel okay about life if people can't be consistent? Yeah. And we have to be consistent, but pride takes us away from that. And cult leaders takes us away from that. You know, Bhagwan, you're God, you know. You ruined so many people's lives. Sai Baba. Holy shit. You know, the Pope and all the people dealing with, you know, the pedophilia that's not getting taken care of. Yeah. All of this due to cult. Yeah. They take away. I've always said, you know, one thing you're going to get back is your will. Yeah. Your pride takes away the will. Yeah, because it's the will of God. Yeah. It's humility. Yeah, so I'm explaining this so you'll have a better understanding as to how those people got into the mess they're in. Now all of them, not all of them, trust me, not all of them, few of them, people who actually went in, stormed, saw the mess, experienced 5 people dying, you know, watched police be completely, you know, overwhelmed. Yeah, because they were doing this in trust. They thought, this is Trump's people. Trump always said, everybody always says, my people are peaceful. They will not break windows. Yeah, they will not riot. They don't carry clubs. They're not hostile people. Yeah, yeah. Those are the Antifa. You know, Black Lives Matter. You know, things like that. That's where that comes in. But here this comes down. And now we found out there were no Black Lives Matter there. There was no Antifa there. None. Yeah. All there was Trump supporters. Yeah. And they followed his every word. Yeah. So check this out. Check this out. This is our dear Trump.
I want to read a tweet which came from the president. It is clear that the president of the United States is stoking this. That's not a matter of opinion. That is.
Okay, now this is happening. You know, put this into perspective. You know, we got a president called Trump, right? And he is sitting in the dining room. He went outside, you know, to give a speech, to get everybody all riled up. They stole the vote. Yeah. The electoral is not right. Yeah. They're stealing the election. Yeah. This is not right. We have to do something. So we have to get Congress to change their mind. And then he says, and I'm depending on Pence to stand up there and not accept this electoral vote and give me more time for us to investigate this. That's what he tells everybody. He says, so we are depending on Pence, whether or not this works. Yeah. So he says all this, and he says this during his talk and everything. So this is an hour after he gives his talk and walks away. He says, okay, let's march. Everybody march. Yeah. And they march. So this is around noon he gives his talk. At 1:30, they are breaking down gates. Yeah, and this is on film. It's all live. Everybody's watching it. And Trump is watching this in the dining room. He's not in the Oval Office. No, people, he's not. He is not any place where you would be talking to people to help control a riot upon the Capitol. He's not anything like that. No one really is there to talk with him. He wants to be alone in the dining room. Yeah. So he's sitting there and he's watching TV, and he has the ability to tweet. He still has tweet. So in the middle of it, here they are. They're all broken in. People are inside. Yeah. They've broken glass. He could see it. He's watching it. And he's not doing anything. All he's doing is listening to Congress and see what Pence is saying. And immediately Pence says, I will not go against the electoral vote that is here. I will do as I'm supposed to be doing. He immediately got on tweet and told all of his followers what Pence did. That's why they stormed. That's why they got aggressive. And I got it on film. That as they were storming in, let's hang Pence. That's what they kept saying. Let's hang Pence. And they literally had it, a large group of people who were in there, had a plan as to where they can hang him. Yeah? They had what it took to hang the man if they found the guy. Yeah? Can you imagine that? But luckily, they had taken him away and made him secure. So here we are. We're about an hour into it. He's watching all this, and he's telling them, we've lost because of Pence. Pence is the guy. So now they want to hang Pence. Yeah. And now they're really angry at all of Congress. So they're definitely going to break into Congress. And there's no real police there because no one believes this president or anybody in America would do this. Nobody in America would ever do such a thing. 1776 was a long time ago, and we were really stupid and angry. And we weren't America. We just finished with Europe. We just finished with France. We just finished with quite a few wars. So, it was a common ground. What side are you on? Totally understandable for that event, but not today. There's no justifiable reason. Nobody can believe that this took place. And the only reason it took place is because of Trump. The only reason. They would have never knocked down a door. They never would have crossed over the gates. Nothing. They would have been peaceful and stood out there and chanted so that Congress would hear, and don't steal it, whatever, but not violence. Not what they did. And they did what they did because they were edged on. And this is in the moment as this is happening.
Observation and fact. Here's what he said on Twitter a short time ago. Quoting now, Mike Pence didn't have the courage to do what should have been done to protect our country and our Constitution, giving states a chance to certify a corrected set of facts, not the fraudulent or inaccurate ones which they were asked to previously certify. USA, man of truth. Of course, as is so often the case, that is just not true. Mike Pence does not have the authority under the Constitution and the law to do anything more than he has done today. We researched this thoroughly. His is the role of a moderator. He is one who leads the process. He is a presenter and nothing more in that. He has no authority to undo the will of the people, which is what the president was asking for the Congress to do. It's what he was asking Republicans to do, to
So the point is, he's lying. Yeah? And we all know he lies or exaggerates or whatever, you know, he steals the ball, you know. He lies. He golfs, he lies, he steals the ball. He's a stealer. He's a thief. He's a con man. Yeah? He covers his tracks, people. He's prideful. He's arrogant. He's all these things. There's no question about it. And he honestly believes you're going to let him go. You're going to let him get away with this. And allow him to become president again. Yeah. Yeah. And allow him to get his own channel, his own media channel. You know, start his own Twitter. Yeah. Allow him to do that. Yeah. Yeah. I don't think so. I believe that there's a soul in every living human being. Yeah. And we're in a situation where half and half of the United States voted for the devil. You know, so, and now these people are feeling remorse. Their conscience is getting to them. Yeah. Many, many, many Republicans are going, that's it. You know, that's the last straw. You know, I don't know how I didn't see it. You know, we, you know, can't explain it, but this man's got to go. He's dangerous. You know, we are very much thinking he might just push a nuclear button. He's that crazy. You know, and everybody goes, nah, you know, but then he pushes it and we're all going, what? Holy shit, we're in a nuclear war. Where did it go? Where did that nuclear bomb go? You know, Iran. Oh, no. Yeah. Yeah. You don't expect it. But the man's got that position in life. Yeah. And pride will make you do some shit. Some real weird shit. Look at him here. Now, this is Trump supporters. And right after the event, this is during the event, the day of the event. Yeah, and they're asking the people, what do you think of this? You know, isn't this terrible? And this is their reaction.
Are you proud of what happened here today?
Absolutely. I think we should have gone on in and yanked our senators out by the hair of the head and drug them out and said, no more.
Let's go. Hey, let's go. Let's go.
Entire D.C. National Guard, thousands of troops here in the nation's capital. The entire National Guard has been activated by the U.S. Department of Defense following this mob that has attacked the U.S.
Now that's an insurrection. Yeah, pretty easy, yeah. And then I'll show you, you know, the relationship of what happens if a person is actually a terrorist. What is terrorism? You know, if an act of terrorism takes place, it has to have carried out certain events in order to call it terrorism. Yeah. Yeah. And this fits the bill. Every single thing that happened is an act of terrorism. Yeah. And so this process, these people, they're supporting, you know, this influence, but their main thing is that they're built up. You know, they honestly believe that there was a stealing of those votes, you know, and that those computers did what they did. And, you know, no matter how crazy all those people were, that, you know, he had people to say it. You know, he had people say it on media. You know, so masses of all of his followers would go, yeah, that's the truth. You know, because they would be doing their conspiracy thing, you know, and they'd be suing people, you know, and then after every single one didn't pass, you know, they still would just say, we need more time. And that's where this led up to, yeah. we didn't have enough time, to clarify the situation. Yeah. And all these people, when you ask them, do you think this is worth it? Why are you doing it? Yeah. It's because this is the only last result. Yeah. We can't not do this. Yeah. We have to do this. Yeah. Yeah. Because you stole the election. Yeah. You stole the election. Yeah. And if they really believe this, and they do, they believe it. There are doctors, lawyers, firemen, people, normal, kinda people, that wouldn't do this sort of thing, wouldn't behave like this. But when you imagine if someone comes up to you and says, they stole my kid. Now, if you say, they stole my hammer, that doesn't affect me too much, I'm not going to jump up and go beat someone up because they stole your hammer. Yeah. But if you want to get me to move, lie to me and tell me you stole my kids. Someone stole my kids. Help me go get them. Yeah. There's a lot of people out there right now claiming they have cancer. A lot of people out there right now claiming their kids have been stolen. When in reality they're at their cousins or some shit. But they're lying to manipulate the circumstances of situations, and found out later, why'd you lie about that? You wrecked everybody's mind, thinking that this was going on. And why? How? What would you do? Why would you be lying like that? Yeah. So all through this thing, this man's been lying. Yeah. In order to give more time. Yeah. More and more and more time. And in order for him to make sure that he knew he lost, right? He knew he lost. So the only thing he could do is focus upon his next win. Yeah. So then he says, hey, we're going to make sure that we get our win back before we lose. Yeah. We're going to show that it was all fake, and we're going to turn it around. Yeah. We're going to get our win back. Right. But in his mind, he's thinking, I'll be coming back in 4 years. He knew he lost. But he needed the media. He needed the playtime to make sure that Biden wouldn't have anything to grow with over the next 4 years. And that masses of people would believe that it was stolen, and that they miss their president, and they have a fake president. Yeah. And everybody's just, up in arms over, what really happened here. Do we have any real right? Can we trust these people? Can we, let's get back our president so we can go to fight again. Because behind the scene, QAnon still goes on. Yeah. The conspiracy still goes on, which is the only reasoning behind his purpose. Yeah. Because he's just this deluded character that really desires to be the president of the United States. He got off on it so much you can't imagine. Yeah. And he does not want to leave that seat. And he's going to do anything to do it. So he's been lying, and there's been people who's catching his lie as they're going along. There's this one, a lot of supporters, but check this little supporter guy out. When I say it's stupidity that draws these people into this, there's a good reason why this guy right here.
We want to stop the steal. We want a free election. We want Donald Trump in office.
So can you explain what happened today?
Today, we come up here to the Capitol steps. Tried to get in the Capitol. They started gassing us and macing us. We kept trying to hold the line and go up to the state Capitol. We want to be heard. That's all we want to do is be heard. Nobody wants to listen. They want to gas and mace us.
What's going to happen, do you think, after that?
I don't know. I think they stopped their vote in there. They evacuated it, what they said. So I don't know yet. I hope they overturn this and at least give us some days to find out about the corruption and prove what happened.
That's what they're thinking. This is going to disrupt the choice of allowing Biden to be president. All these people are there to stop Congress from electing them, and they honestly believed it worked.
The election was a fraud, and I think it's clear that the election's a fraud, and we're not going to stand for it.
Now, even after, they're still going, it's still fraud.
Many coming from Trump's Save America rally stormed the U.S. Capitol as Congress met to certify the 2020 presidential election results.
A moment-to-moment scenario of what took place during this
resulted
thing.
in multiple deaths, including an officer, dozens of injuries to law enforcement and rioters, ongoing arrests, and vandalism across the Capitol. Here's how the day unfolded. That morning, thousands gathered at the Ellipse near the White House to hear the president and his allies speak. Shortly before noon, President Trump addressed the crowd.
We will never give up. We will never concede. We're going to walk down to the Capitol because you'll never take back our country with weakness. You have to show strength and you have to be strong.
Following his speech, the crowd then marched to the U.S. Capitol building, where initially only Capitol Police were stationed. Additional MPD officers would be called to assist by 1 p.m.
Now they hit the gate
a large crowd
at around
marched approximately
12:45. This
standing
gate.
at a fenced-off entrance near the Peace Monument. According to ABC News sources that day, many
There's
Capitol
like a
Police
half a
were
million
armed with
people.
mace and their sidearms. As the crowd pushed the barricades over, the police were quickly overwhelmed.
And in a lot of news, they're saying the police allowed them in. That's not true. You can see it right
contrast
here.
to other events in D.C. last summer,
Look at that
additional
police
state and
officer on the
federal law
ground.
enforcement was not
Look at
pre-staged
this
to handle
police
the
officer
riot.
being pushed against.
Within minutes, protesters began swarming other entrances of the Capitol,
These are
breaking
Trumpians.
through barricades and continuing to push further toward the building.
And they just got a text
Inside, Congress began
Yeah.
their session with
that
Vice President
Pence
Pence presiding.
Are there any
will
objections
not do
to
it.
counting the certificate of vote of the state of Arizona?
I will vote to respect the people's decision and defend our system of government.
And he texts this to everybody.
During this time, explosive devices were reported outside the DNC and RNC.
Explosions.
Meanwhile, rioters continued to surround the
Bombs.
Capitol, taking photos and waving flags. One video shows rioters streaming past barricades with officers standing by. An audio message from around 2 p.m. warned congressional staffers and reporters to stay away from windows and doors. Between 2 and 2:30,
So if you can remember back Trump's talks, when he talks to people in the early time, in about 2016, people come to his thing and they're aggressive. And he goes, get that guy out of here and beat the crap out of him as you take him out, And then he says to the cops, don't treat him any better than, treat him bad, hurt their heads, push him into their car, treat him badly, Yeah. And every time, there was any kind of process, he says, you have to show strength. Beat the shit out of him. That's what he says. You have to show strength. Beat the shit out of him. So when he's out there talking, he says, you have to show strength. And he doesn't have to say, beat the shit out of him. Because he said it 100 times. Over and over and over again. And that's what they're hearing in their heads. Yeah? They're just following. They're a part of a team. Yeah? They're on the Trump team. You can read about it. It says, this is the Trump team. Yeah? And it's a knee-jerk scenario. And they honestly believe people in teams, how weird is it? Think about it, Here you are, you got two teams. Yeah? And the process is one side's going to win. So now you have to be so aggressive, so hostile, so overwhelming against that team to trip them up, beat them down, and get them to lose. Yeah. I mean, baseball is kind of, low key. Yeah. You just throw the ball, catch the ball, throw the ball, run. Not a lot of beating up. Yeah. But almost every other sport that we've got, has beating to it. And it's expressed as the need to do such a thing. Yeah? To win. The only thing that's important is winning. Yeah? And in the end, what do you win? What do you win? Your team wins. You don't win. Your team wins. Yeah? So in the end, you look at the team. Who owns the team? It's the owner of the team that wins. Yeah? Not the people on the team. They're the ones who suffer, you know, and live a life of suffering. So it really doesn't stop there at the person who's playing the game. It's about the coach. Yeah? It's about someone else in charge pushing this competitive process. Yeah? And then we all get off on it because we like watching people get beat up or lose and win. Yeah. If you go to a race car thing, you know, subconsciously there's this process of waiting for them to crash. You know, it's so boring watching them just go around in circles, you know. And then you hear, oh, you know, AJ Foyt is ahead, you know. Yay, you know. But it really is, nothing triggers until a horrifying event takes place. Yeah. And wars are never okay if they're not war. Yeah. It's got to be war. Talk to the military. Go in there. Talk to Marines. I've been in the Marines. Yeah. I didn't want it. I sat in it. And we were getting out of the Vietnam War. I never heard so much complaining of Marine sergeants, you know, going, oh, I hate this desk job. I got to get back over there and kill myself some gooks. You know, I go, what? Yeah, I love leading my men into battle. What? Are you kidding me? You know, and then you talk to the recruits, you know, and they're just going, yeah, I can't wait. Because they're in this team. Yeah. And they honestly believe, and they're lied to, they honestly believe the people they're going to go kill is against them. They're going to come over here and kill us. Yeah? So we got to literally go over there and kill them before they come over here and kill us. Yeah? And we're lied into that process because we have to maintain war. It's a job of the service of the military. It's a job of being in a football game or a basketball game. Yeah. And it's because we've had this in our history. We have this process where we're so materialistic and we're so driven by so many things, and we have no idea that those things are what kill us. Those things are what keeps us from being happy. You know, those things keeps us from evolving spiritually, you know. And once we go in to humility, yeah, and take on minimalism, yeah, then until then, not a lot's going to change. Yeah, not a whole lot. Yeah, so this guy is he's rampantly pushed this into the edge, and he's leaving. We know he's leaving January 20th. Yeah. But does that mean that the violence is over with? Yeah. Does it mean that the people, you know, are going to stop going out and picketing and harming people and screaming and saying, stop the steal? Even now? Yeah. Yeah, check this out.
Vengeance is ours, saith the mob. And they're still saying it.
I'm really glad it needed to happen.
Days after MAGA mania rampaged through an American sanctuary, was the moment heroic or horrific? Partisans got in each other's face.
bunch of terrorists. No, we're not.
But for some Trump loyalists, it's an inflection point.
You can be disappointed in whatever, but you can't just go in and ransack public places like that.
Count me out. Enough is enough.
You are a traitor, Lindsey Graham.
Trump diehards turned on Senator Lindsey Graham after that.
Welcome to the new America, Lindsey. This is the rest of your life.
This video shows the first family Wednesday morning, right before the president's inflammatory speech.
I think we're T-minus a couple of seconds here, guys.
A couple hours later, the mob trampled the Constitution. And Roseanne Boyland of Kennesaw, Georgia.
The president's words incited a riot that killed 4 of his biggest fans.
Protesters also stormed the Washington State Governor's Mansion. More protests in Arizona, Florida, Minnesota, and the Kansas State House. Talk of more violence now scuttles across social media. Our American ideal is still at risk. Democracy or ochlocracy. Rule by the mob. Mark Strassman, CBS News, Atlanta.
So what are we going to do about this guy? Yeah? You know, people, how the heck did he ever become president? You know, well, now we're in an opportunity. Christ has led this situation into the opportunity, you know, and when lies go on and people believe the lies, it's really hard to get you past the lie and not be at a midpoint and just let it go because you're not sure. Yeah? You know, so at that midpoint, we could just let him go. Let the 20th happen. Let him leave the office, you know, and go on to wherever he wants to go and do whatever he wants to do. He's free to do it. Yeah? And or, because if we do that, you know, he's going to get back on media. He's going to talk to all 80 million people, you know, and he's going to communicate his hostility toward not being president and how Biden is a fake president and that you're all a bunch of fools and that we need to do something, you know. He's going to do that. Yeah. And he's also going to insinuate the fact that he needs to be reelected to straighten this out. He's the only one who could straighten this out. Yeah. But we happen to be in a situation to where we can legally make it to where this man can never be a dog catcher. Yeah? He can't be a dog catcher, let alone president of the United States. Because legally, all we have to do, we can do the 25th Amendment, yeah, which everybody's jumping around going, yeah, we want to do that one. Yeah, that would be really quick. You know, but what we really want to do is that we want this man to go through a legal process. Yeah, and in that legal process, we bind him so that he does not receive any benefits leaving office. He gets no security. Yeah, he gets no money. He gets no $1 million a year for travel expenses. Yeah, he gets no $200,000 a year for his annual, you know, paycheck that you get when you retire as being president. Yeah, he gets a situation to where legally he is bound to never go for office, mayor, president, senate, of any kind in the United States as long as he's alive. It's not 6 years, 10 years, 20 years, yeah? It's as long as he's alive, yeah? That's the lowest thing we could do, the lowest thing, because everybody knows we have to do that. You know, if he comes back, it'll only be worse. And it's not about him, it's about the people. We trusted the people, but we can't do that anymore. Those people attacked. And we can't just go about thinking, you know, let people talk and say the things they want to do, lie. It's okay. People have the right to speech. Yeah? But they don't have the right to office and carry on that in a way in which you take over the government. Yeah? You don't put people in that position. Yeah? Yeah. So now we're finding out that we have to take the president's position, certain points of it, out of power. Yeah. Like in the state of Maryland, we have to make it possible for the Washington D.C. mayor, to have full authority over the National Guard and not the President of the United States. So if anything happens to the president or anybody in that building, that person has the ability to bring in all of the military they need to create protection. But they couldn't do that for over 4 hours. They couldn't do it because they could not reach the president. No one could reach him. No one. That's crazy. And finally, Pence, after 2 to 3 hours, finally reached out and had them come. Yeah. But there were people everywhere trying to reach the president, trying to get, because they have to go through the president to bring the National Guard onto the steps of Washington, D.C. It's just decreed in that process. So here's what the mayor said.
Congress must immediately transfer command of the District of Columbia National Guard from the President of the United States and put it squarely under the command and control of the Mayor of the District of Columbia. The Congress must create a nonpartisan commission to understand the catastrophic security failures that happened at the Capitol on January 6, 2021, both to hold people accountable and to ensure that it never happens again. We must also understand why the federal law enforcement response was much stronger at the protest over the summer than during yesterday's attack on Congress. I also call on the Joint Terrorism Task Force to investigate, arrest, and prosecute any individual who entered the Capitol, destroyed property, or incited acts of domestic terrorism observed yesterday. More immediately, we know that the current president must be held accountable for this unprecedented attack on our democracy. What happened yesterday is what he wanted to happen, and we must not underestimate the damage he can do to our nation and our democracy over the next 2 weeks. And it's not just the president who must be held accountable, so too must the domestic terrorists who stormed the Capitol and threatened members of Congress. What happened yesterday is textbook terrorism. Let me read you a definition. It's from the Federal Code of Regulations. It's defined as the unlawful use of force and violence against persons or property to intimidate or coerce a government, the civilian population, or any segment thereof in furtherance of political or social objectives. The FBI has already set up a website where Americans can report tips, and today MPD is releasing its own lookout information. Any tips that are reported to MPD will also be shared with the FBI. So I encourage Washingtonians who can provide information to do so by texting 50411, or by calling 202-727-9099. We are still...
Yep. Yeah, a lot of changes. The key is that we have to make a lot of changes. Yeah, and one of the first things that they need to do, and there's nothing I could do about making things happen, but I could teach. Yeah, and much of what I say comes into manifestation. Yeah, because it's thought form building. Yeah, we're a group. Yeah, we're a cooperative group. Yeah, and it's a fascinating thing to hear collectively common sense expressed, and that's telepathy. And I trust in that relationship will build up inside of humanity. Yeah. So the things that I'm saying are to instill in people the second ray, so that they can control their pride and not be taken over by people who have an abundant amount of pride. First ray, willfulness, to take over the home, or to take over the business, or to take over your life as a friend. Yeah. So all of us suffer from this. It is the behind-the-scenes scenario. It weakens us, having any of that in our life. So this is one of the biggest things that we're going to have to deal with, is this guy. And once this is dealt with, then we have a level of discernment discrimination that will come in. We are in a mass first initiation, a mass first initiation. To get to that second initiation is discernment discrimination. And that means that we have to have the ability to tell the difference between a saint and a demon. We have to know the difference. And every living human being is on the path of sainthood. So we want to further that. We want to further it. And that's a peaceful quality. It's a characteristic that grows naturally and abundantly, and it's so giving, so much more is received from it, that all the suffering that we experience, so why are people poor, why are people going through these and that, and all these things, those things begin to evaporate with answers and activity and funding and support. That isn't happening right now. But it will, simply because the second ray in thought form building creates the ability to release the veil, take the veil off, and for us to be actively involved and have the right things come at us. Not these, so many people are bugging the crap out of you, using first ray energy, and that keeps you from being yourself, just having your own natural self. Because you're trying to please the asshole, that's on your ass, bugging you, you're telling you what to do, expecting you to do it their way. That's horrifying. It's horrifying. But it happens. And as long as that happens, we're going to have Trump. Because this is a league of these people. It's a legion. And it's an energy that moves inside of people that is non-empathetic, non-compassionate, non-caring, more selfish. And to rule other people in that selfish, unhealthy state. And it means that we're just unhealthy. It just means that we have availability, for the weak, to be the weak. And those who are the ones who scream the loudest, push the hardest, aggressively demand their way, they get it. Because the rest of us are being, trampled on. So this process is in a dramatic change. We have no idea how the change is going to manifest, but it's going to manifest under the relationship of people's humility. Their ability to, at this point, everybody's going, some 70 million people are going, I love Trump, Well, I'm hoping that, over the next 5 months, only 30 million people will love Trump and justify their actions and belief and still think that that's real. And the rest of them will go, because there is a process when you are brainwashed, that brainwashing decrystallizes, and you're now open to the opportunity of hearing more truth. And there comes trust. These people can't trust, and they're angry about it. That's what's going to come at you. Because they're going to bear arms. Because they can't trust. And he's built that lack of trust to be placed in him as all the trust. And you can't trust anything else but Trump. Does that make sense? So it's a matter of, this is a satanic reality, and he's built up this throughout many lives. But in the end, this man is going to be twice he's going to go through this process to where they're going to kick him out, and nobody really gets this. What's that called when you impeachment? Nobody really in our government really has ever gotten impeached. You know, it's a hard thing to get. You know, it's really difficult. You got to be the asshole of assholes, you know, and everybody know it. And there's no process of your changing in order to make it a lesser, you know, crime. You know, impeachment is against the state, against the people, against the Congress, against the actions of a president, opposite actions. You know, you impeach a person for that. Yeah, just like him, you know, buying off Russia and doing all these things for his own personal gain and all that. You impeach people for that. Yeah, and in those cases, we did not have the verification for a legal lawsuit. Yeah, we couldn't make a case. We couldn't hold the case. We now have everything to hold a case. Yeah, so even if after the 20th, and he hasn't been impeached, even after he's left, he can still be impeached. And that's what's going to happen. Whether it happens between now and 60 days from now, or a year from now, he will be impeached. And the purpose of the impeachment is to eliminate the opportunity legally that he can get the support and get any kind of action toward him becoming president again, having this power again in any way, shape, or form. Even a Twitter account is dangerous in that man's hands, and everybody knows it. So why the shit would you want to make him president? You have to impeach him. Why? Because he has so much pride, he won't stop. He won't stop. You have to cut off all the things, make them completely unattainable. Or his pride will continue finding ways to attain it. He will do it, whether it be child molestation or raping, and he'll get it done and over with, and then he'll pay someone off to get it so he can continue on that same process. We need to be better people and catch these people. And if we do this now with him, yeah, you will be amazed the world that you're going to change, because it's going to make it impossible for other people to come in his place. Right now, there are two people who are in the Senate who are as evil as him. Not as evil, but they're channelers for hate. Yeah? And we've ousted one lady who was in there, you know, and she's gone now. And then there's Cruz. Yeah, and he's still there, but he will not be elected again. Yeah? And then another guy who was the only one who was actually going to stand up for President Trump and say, I totally won't agree with this electoral ballot, and it's totally wrong, and everything is all wrong, and you know, people need to listen, we need more time, all that. He's right there with him. He too will never be voted into office again. And it's not because he's impeached, it's because he's an idiot, and people are aware enough to know that. Yeah? And we may have a third of the vote to get him votes, but he won't get it. Yeah, because the people who are now Republicans are becoming soulful, even though they're Republicans. To me, there's no such thing as a team. People are people. Yeah? And we're in a divided state. So we call ourselves Republicans or Democrats because we're in a divided state of consciousness. Left brain, right brain. That's it. Yeah, we use less than 10% of your brain. You cannot take sides, people. You are on sides. It's not a matter of taking sides. You are on sides. Does that make sense? Yeah? And we're going to fix that. We're going to fix it. Yeah, because through soul therapy, through light, through the soul, through meditation, yeah, you gain more brain cells. Yeah? Through the right use of herbs, through the right use of diet, you gain more brain cells. Through fasting, you gain more brain cells. So there's no problem in developing a clearer, more spiritual being. Yeah? Our only difficulty is that all of our time and energy is taken into lower mind, which doesn't make us interested in these things. Yeah, to the point to where we're let alone not interested in God, we're not sure God even exists. So where am I going to build up my interest? You know, I got to have a deity or something in order to believe in God. When in reality, God's inside of you. You know, so there should be a deep relationship with that's being number one, and everything else kind of comes into play. But that's not the case, because we have all of this lower mind going on and separation, you know, where we're instilled more right brain or more left brain, and in sections of our brains. You know, there's a whole lot of people that have a lot of this going on and very little of that going on. Yeah? If you understand the brain, it has functions. Yeah? And sections of the brain have functions. When you talk to people, you can tell that's dysfunctional. You have major portions of your brain that are dysfunctional. You wonder how it is you're not a great mechanic, or you're not a great at all these things that require all these seemingly masterful qualities and characteristics. But what it really requires is for you to do something you haven't done before, that's harder than what you've ever done before, and go through all the difficulty in order to be able to make it work. That's how you create brain cells. Yeah? You don't go, oh, I can't do it. You're going to stay like that. Oh, I can't do it. Yeah? But after, 40 years of trying hard things and skill and all that comes from it, you gain integrity. People look at you as though you have integrity. Yeah? And they go, hey, man, you're good at that. That's amazing. What skills? And skills are something you develop. And we're here to be born to develop skills. Yeah? Skills could be how you talk, how you think, how you react. Yeah? It's all a matter of fixing those things every day. Focusing on those things, making those things better. Yeah? And that is what makes your brain better. They even say if you do puzzles and you do, things with numbers and things like that, it's very helpful. And it is. You got to use your brain. Yeah, use it or lose it. Yeah, sitting around and tweeting makes you dumb. It does. Texting, tweeting, Facebook. I could show you science. People who do that get stupider over a period of time. They lose brain cells, and they have a greater possibility of going into senility as they get older. Yeah, because they're multitasking. They're using a very small portion of the brain rather than opening the envelope to opportunities that come up spontaneously, and you have to deal with them. The other one is, I'm in control, I could text, I could talk, I could do whatever I want. That's a control thing. Yeah. The other one, you're completely out of control, you're completely humble, you're completely open to, whatever's going to happen. Oh, look, this is what's happening, this is what I'll do. Yeah, does that make sense? Yeah. So, let's pray. One of the things you will notice if you watch the news and you see people's response, yeah, they're going to use words, yeah, that have more to do with God. You're going to hear people praying that are asking Jesus to intervene and make things better. Yeah, you're going to hear more of that. And it's not going to happen about it happening in a church. It's going to happen in Congress, or it's going to happen to a group of people standing together making a decision that they're going to include Jesus in this to make a difference. Yeah. And that's going to increase. Yeah. And people's ability to have morals, ethics, the word moral, yeah, the word ethic, yeah, yeah, different terms and words that aren't being used. Yeah, we're not using certain things because we're in this process. Yeah, but as we get healed, and as this turns to externalize, yeah, then masses of people are going to be freed from this devil, and they're going to orient themselves as the saints that they are, and they're going to call on Jesus. Yeah, and that's going to increase to more and more people who are stuck by the devil in religions, yeah, who are cursed in that religion, yeah, and they're going to call on Jesus, yeah, and it's going to save them. And it could be a terrible scenario. They could be dying, and all of a sudden all they have is Jesus, and Jesus comes to their aid, and they don't even have to call on Jesus. That's the second initiation. Yeah, yeah, and that's really, that's like my part-time job. Yeah, is being omnipresent and rectifying, any given situation. Yeah, just simply by including my mind with your mind, and we develop a thought form building situation. It's omnipresence. Yeah. And it's not a difficulty. I don't have to think. I don't have to do anything. And I could do it with billions of people independently, individually, yeah, in a very natural way. It happens all the time. Yeah. And this is what we're going to witness. We're going to see it on the news, where these people are very fifth ray. I don't believe in God. I'm not really sure if Jesus should be in the school. All those things. They would usually say these things, and they would say, I follow Trump, and they would say the conspiracy's true. All those things were said in the past, up to today. Yeah. But this is going to change. Words from heaven are going to come in. Invocations are going to begin manifesting. And the invocation, the evocation of people with the truth, and invocating what it takes for them to clear their minds, to clear their soul, so that they can represent that truth and see the truth and discern. So they're going to start using words like discern. Not just discriminate, yeah, but discern. Yeah. And they're going to link it into a spiritual recognition of this demigod is trying to control us. This devil, yeah, those things are going to be said in people because they are angels. And we are in a battle, and we're not in separation. We're all in the same battle. Even Satan's in the same battle to save his soul. There's no one that's not in that battle. Yeah. And right now, everything that keeps him from having a soul is being taken away. Yeah. His Twitter, his Facebook, his position as president, all that is being taken away. His position as a leading person in business, anybody would love to do business with? I don't think so. I don't think so. Yeah. Only if you're corrupt and you know a corrupt deal and you'd like to get a little something going on with Donald Trump. Yeah. But I think there's a lot of people whose souls and the discernment in their soul is going to free them up from the will that draws them to him. Yeah. That energy of his power, his pride, yeah, and his ability to make you think he can make money, make you think he could do the best deal, make you think that, you get in with him, you're a winner. They're guaranteed. Every Ponzi says that. They all say that. Every single one. They have that delusion and they have to present that so that you'll buy into it. And this guy's the same. And every single angel out there is going to discern and discriminate from this because they're hearing the words of God. And without those words, you have nothing to refer to other than your own religion. Yeah? So these initiations that I'm establishing are going to save this planet. It's going to bring peace to this whole world. Yeah? And it's going to bring peace to the galaxy that you don't even know has its own problems. But it's going to bring peace to that too. Yeah? But the whole thing is about humility. Yeah? So when we do this prayer, that thing about thank you for bringing me here, that's a complete snap away from your first ray, your pride. You know? Because it's always, you still got it. You still, thank you for bringing me here, even though I'm the one who, it always happens. People always refer to the self. Yeah. And it's hard to refer to God, which is omnipresent. All things. Yeah. And when God is all things, that's when you have the opportunity to be humble, to be nothing with God. God's not asking to be anything great. Yeah? God just wants to be. And that's what God wants you to have. Yeah? Does that make sense? Yeah? So these prayers are to help you fortify your pride to be released. Yeah? And then it says, you might have taken relationship to pride, called the devil, and any agreement which you have when you're prideful. You agree to be that way. Yeah? It's your character. It's your personality. Yeah? And once that is completely driven out, those initiations take the place, and you get both hemispheres of your brain. Yeah? Because your whole brain, if you study my invocations, the great invocation is about bringing God's light to your brain. Right into your brain. The mind of God enters your mind. Yeah? The soul of God enters your soul. Yeah? The etheric field of God enters your physical body. Yeah? And that's not, nothing's being taken away. Yeah? It's an invocation of what already exists. Yeah? So it's really difficult for this to continue existing in the process of those initiations. Yeah. When we get to the third initiation, which means that we'll have fifth degree initiates able to come out of wherever they're hanging out, and come forth and hang out with me. Yeah. And then we go do sand paintings, both Native Americans and Tibetans. Yeah. And we show people about humility, having come from a nation of being humiliated, and, having not asked for it, but got it, and still here, still alive. Yeah. Those two groups are going to do an enormous healing. Because imagine you have a sand painting, you do this mandala, which represents heaven and earth, a blending of heaven and earth. Yeah. All the elements, all the kingdoms, all the animals, all the vegetables, everything, including the cosmos. It's a great mandala. Yeah. And they do this with understanding and blessing and consciousness and discernment and discrimination. Yeah. And then they gather it up and put it in a pot and take it to a stream and pour it into the stream and let the stream take it. Yeah. They don't sell it as a painting. They don't look at it as oh, I did that. Yeah. They do the very opposite. Yeah. They just scoop it up and put it in and throw it away. And that process is what gives them the ability to be spiritual, is the letting go. Yeah. And gathering all the ability to do a well-known, understanding invocation, knowing God and knowing the elements and knowing the music and knowing prayer and all those things, many hundreds of lives it takes to get to that point to where you're the one doing that sand painting, doing that ceremony, and doing these things. Yeah. So we have very rare people who could do such a thing. And when they do, they are a deva. They're holding Devic elemental forces for all of humanity. Yeah? And then they do a ceremony for you, letting it go, doing some great thing, beautiful thing, yeah, and let it go, yeah. And the mind of people, as they watch it, they're just going, wow, that's a trip, that's really cool, that's great, yeah. But the reality is that it's literally lifting humanity up by bringing devas onto the ground, literally on the ground, and doing sand paintings. Those are minerals, colors, yeah. And they create a geometric pattern of manifestation that's happening in every flower, also happening in the creation of our Constitution. The Constitution is called Shambhala, yeah? The Constitution, yeah? And it's a geometric pattern. It's found in geometric forms, it's found in flowers, it's found in everything, yeah? But it's the Constitution, yeah? And when we do a mandala, we are resurrecting the Constitution. God's creator. God's the creator. Yeah? So we're creating, co-creating in this magic of manifesting blessings down to the lowest level, down to the mineral, little tiny rock, sand itself. Yeah? And blessing that. And then taking it to the water. And blessing that. So we're simply working with the elements, flowing with the elements, letting it happen naturally. Water flows, yeah. Sand stays where it's at, just sits, yeah. Everything has the ability to move freely together, and if you orchestrate it in the right way, with invocation and evocation, it's the same way God created creation, yeah. So those higher masters are actually putting this together and elementally blessing the mineral kingdom that cooperated in the process of the making of us. Yeah. Everything is made down to the very smallest thing, microcosm, macrocosm. You want to go small, go down to the sand. That's pretty dang small. Yeah. And that represents everything. You know, all of us. You know, putting that into the light. Yeah. So these people, after third initiation, and this is not when we've fulfilled a third initiation, this is when a certain number of people in the whole of the world has gone from the first, second, to the third. Then enormous numbers of these masters are freed up. They're freed. And they incarnate. Yeah? And they come. And they have incredible abilities of ceremonial magic. Yeah, an element of the seventh ray that we have moved away. We've put it in the base. We have no idea. We think it's a phenomenon, you know, it has something to do with, you know, weird spirituality, you know, it's so separate from us. But that when that comes back into order with masters, you know, who are a right order of ceremonial order, you know, they've gone through all the initiations and the music that they play, just like me, yeah, all the art that they do, just like me, yeah. All of that comes from the seventh initiation to the sixth initiation to the fifth initiation down to the third initiation, who could then start building temples. Yeah? In other words, you could see Washington, D.C. as a temple. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. Build it up. Put soul therapy in there. Play pujas in there. Yeah? Let's make that monument right there vibrate. Yeah, yeah. Let's build some more. You know, every single state has a capital. It's a holy place. It's a dome for a reason. Yeah, and if we sanctify every single thing like that, and they're already built, every single state has it. Yeah, if we begin sanctifying, this happens between the second and the third initiation. But everything is already co-created because there were masters. Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Adam, all the masters were already there, laying the ground. This is how Washington will look, laying where they're going to have the United States, where each state would be. Yeah, all of that is done by these masters who's working with groups of humanity that were not first and second degree initiates. Yeah, so the masters were like maybe 20 first degree initiates, maybe 10 second degree initiates, maybe 2 or 3 Yeah, third degree initiates, maybe one fourth or fifth degree initiate. And that was our first president. Yeah. And he watched over everything, created the entire Declaration of Independence, created the Constitution, established everything together. And we use his name because it's part of an avatar quality. We're all named in the name of God. Yeah. We have the blessing that comes with that. Yeah. God gave us our name. He wrote it down in the book of life. Yeah. So we need to really relax on that. Yeah. Does that make sense? There isn't anything that isn't a part of the plan of God. And that's what the masters know. So we've already built the temples. We've already laid out the United States. We've already put temples in every single state. And we've created that place as the capital. Yeah. So those are all sanctified realities. And once they're activated, we are able to resonate. Yeah. As a group. Yeah, we vote, we love each other, we connect, we share, we're prosperous. We're humble in our life, yeah? We understand things we never could understand before. We treat people with so much more love and respect simply because out of the center of our capital is a radiating light of God. Yeah, yeah. Every single capital is based on the creation of God's temple. Yeah. So as time goes on, these initiations come into effect. Everything that's built, already built, you can go to any country. It's all established this way. Whether you go to India or Denmark or any place, they have this capital relationship that allows sanctification to come in, whether it be parliament, yeah, all these opportunities for the God to bless and bring people into right order. Yeah. So just look out for that. Yeah. Because this is the time where we're relinquishing the power that Satan has over humanity. And out of that, it's only going to happen by people having the free will to invoke and pray for Jesus Christ. And know Jesus Christ is real. Yeah. And God of light is in them. And the virtues are getting greater. Yeah. And their lack of ability to follow cult-like scenarios, whether it be Scientology or even sport, yeah, or drugs, alcohol, all those things become diminished, yeah, because esoterically we're gaining our soul. We don't know it because we're in initiations. Yeah. All right. Now let's pray. Okay, repeat after me. Lord Jesus the Christ, thank you for bringing me here. Lord Jesus the Christ, I open my heart today. I invite you to come inside. Come inside, Lord Jesus the Christ, and save my life. Receive me today as a child of God. Forgive all my sins and write my name in the book of life. I give myself to you, my spirit, my soul, my body. Receive me, Jesus the Christ. Now, the devil, the blood of Jesus the Christ is against you. I command you now to leave me. I do not belong to you. I am God's property. Leave my life. I disassociate myself with you. I renounce every evil covenant I have entered in with you. In the name of Jesus the Christ, I have received salvation. I am a child of God. Amen. You'd think doing a prayer like that, whoop, this would happen right away, yeah. But it doesn't happen right away, yeah, because it's a planetary thing, yeah. So every time we do this invocation, we cleanse ourselves from invisible processes that we have no idea of, yeah. And the reason why you're forgiven is because you have no idea, yeah. Forgive them because they do not understand. Yeah, this is not an understanding thing. This is not a knowing thing. Yeah, and this is what is. Yeah, and it's beyond you. God is beyond you. The devil is beyond you. Yeah, but it's real. It happens. Yeah, yeah. So this process, you know, in this prayer, the invocation is an ongoing reciprocation. Yeah, we're in that process of forgiveness. Yeah, it's not actually where you've done something wrong and you have to be forgiven for it. The process is that you are radiated with light that comes from Christ. And the influence that you have inside of you, which you do not know what causes it, the connection, yeah, the support system, mom, dad, aunt, uncle, cousin, brother, lover, all of anything that could be connected to make things continue astrally, that cause you suffering and continues suffering in others. That's what this is about. Yeah, this is to save your soul. And we don't know what causes chaos. We don't know what causes suffering and all the things that go on in the world. Yeah, but Christ is the Savior that redeems us from that process because he actually attacks only the devil. Only the devil. And in doing that, Christ is able to redeem you. Yeah. Anytime you ask for prayer, anytime you do this, you're actually receiving a cleansing. You know, so that works. You know, next time you do it, you're more cleansed than you were the first time you did it. Yeah. So this is a continuation. It's not a church, but it's a knowing that you're in process. This prayer is to disassociate you from whatever it is that's affecting you. Yeah? And you have no idea that that interaction goes on because you don't know other people have things going on. And you want to be in the place to where you could trust Trump. But that's not reality, folks. That's not reality. Yeah? And without discernment and discrimination, without Christ, in order to bring the light so that you could see the darkness, yeah, and not be deceived by it. Because once you're deceived by it, you're blinded by your own actions. Yeah? You say something negative, you say you believe that it's been corrupt, you say that everything isn't real, you know, and then in your mind it's justified. And you keep instilling that as a concrete reality. That's the fifth ray. And it's the first ray of pride that you're getting it from. Because despite the fact you might find truth that tells you that's not true, your pride keeps you from believing that that's not true. Yeah? And then that fifth ray, which is a concrete lower mind that can tell you a lie, but because it's a lie, there's no way to prove that it's a lie. It's made up. Completely made up. All of it is made up. All lies are made up. Yeah? So where are you going to get evidence? Since it doesn't happen. Yeah? You'd be spinning your wheels in a process of developing distrust. Yeah? You need to learn to discern, discriminate, and tell whether or not a person's lying without having to go through having to believe they're telling the truth. Yeah? And after a while, when you radiate, when you reach your second initiation, you radiate this discernment and discrimination that affects that person's throat. Yeah? It affects their ability to say the lie. It affects their ability to carry out you, to agree with the lie. Yeah? Weakening you, making you more fifth ray, making you under this authority of a first ray of some kind. Whether it be a car salesman or anybody, they come in with authority. Oh, I know what you need, da, 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 and you give away your power. Yeah? You stand in that situation. This is all, everything is about you getting back your will, and you only get that through love. Yeah? Yeah, because the only will there is God's will. All right? So let's do puja. And that this puja, a soul I walk on earth, is all about what it is I'm telling you. So, listen up. Okay.
I am a messenger of light. I am a pilgrim on the way of love. I do not walk alone, but I know myself as one with all great souls, and one with them in service. Their strength is mine. This strength I claim. My strength is theirs, and this I freely give. A soul, I walk on earth. I represent the One. God moves the world. The past has gone. I am that past. It makes me what I am. The future comes. I also am the coming destiny, and therefore I am that. present flows from out the past. The future colors that which is. I make the future also by my present knowledge of the past and the beauty of the present. And therefore I am that I am. Within the circle of the will of God I stand. Without the radius of the world of glamour I take my place. And there I stand. Before the open door that just reveals a different lighted way, I take my stand. Before the presence, I will take my place, and there will firmly stand. And stand I see. Love is the incentive of our aspiration on the path. Love is the substance of our living in the world. Love is the light and the light of freedom from all creatures. Love pulses through the universe in a divine rhythm. Love is the consciousness of God. May the holy ones whose disciple I am show me the light I seek. May all mankind, may all humanity of all knowledge, may all light on earth make manifest the soul in all things, all life. I invoke the radiant golden sun to manifest the thread of the soul into the kingdoms of the elementals, into the kingdoms of the vegetables, the animals, into the astral plane. I invoke all humanity to become the caretakers of the kingdom of God. I invoke the will of God as the soul. my soul. I am that soul. All love and light am I serve the world and lose myself in service. This is my life, and this is the way that I will tread until the day be with us all. The awakening in the consciousness of humanity, the family of humanity, to bring forth points of energy within themselves, inaugurating certain new techniques in work and in modes of communication. I invoke the group of telepathic communicators. I invoke the group of trained observers. I invoke the group of magnetic healers. I invoke the group of the educators of this new age. I invoke the group of political organizers. I invoke the group of the workers in the field of religion. I invoke the group of scientific servers. I invoke the group of psychologists. I invoke the group of financiers and economists. I invoke all creative workers as the new group. I invoke the externalization of the inner existing of conditions within these groups through the manifestation and the externalization of the avatar. Okay, just relax and keep your eyes closed.
Okay, just relax. You can open your eyes. Enjoy. All right, so that's enough of my squabbling for the day. Yeah, you can deal with me later. So just remember that, you know, I'm 24/7. It doesn't matter if I'm sitting here teaching. I don't even sleep and not do this. You know, I mean, Tara knows. She's been with me for 20 some odd years, and she's witnessed the fact that, you know, it's only been recently in the past 10 or so years that I even started sleeping. You know, so that is, I had to change that so I can live longer, you know, and be a part of this thing. So I had to make myself, you know, get some good sleep and live longer. So, but that, other than that, the only thing that's changed is that, you know, and now I put all my influences that I put into this world is developing more and more, you know, and the certain technologies and things that I need in order for me to do what I need to do. You know, this isn't a magic act. You know, this is about cooperation and instilling in people the mind of God, you know, to fulfill the plan of God. And there's no way you're going to know the plan unless you're in the mind of God. You know, so the mind will instill in you your gifts and your needs, and whatever happens in your life, you know, you're in the tree of life. You know, so don't get bored by it. Don't think that you should be, you know, in a better scenario or worse, whatever, you know. Don't go there, you know. Allow yourself the mind of God, you know, and do the prayer that I say and listen to the musics and do that sort of stuff in order to allow, because my words is God, you know, and the things I say is the mind of God, you know, and it's like you can't really quite grasp it completely, but what do you expect? You know, God is very inclusive, very loving, and full of understanding, and more wisdom than you could ever imagine, you know. So it can be overwhelming, but it is that mind that I'm giving you, you know, and I have an enormous amount of light in my mind, you know, and that's what created this thing, was my mind, you know. So that's what is in you, that you need to instill that in you. And if your mind is doing anything that's negative against yourself or another person, it is not the mind of God. And don't rationalize it. Realize it and use more meditation. Yeah. Take some flower essences, you know. Tara lives on flower essences, you know. You know, I mean, it's the best thing to do. She's the best student I've ever met. You know, she transcends the ability to change. You know, she has metamorphosis and transfiguration and transcendence down. It happens in her life without her will, without her control. It's a shock, you know, and it's ever changing. And that is what goes on in students. All students have this ability. It just depends on how high you were in previous lives, you know, as to how far you're going to recapitulate as you get older. Yeah. And since you're alive, you can grow that and develop that. And every life you'll come back with a greater and greater ability to recapitulate. Yeah. So don't ever imagine that, you know, whatever you got going on in this life is your life. You know, this will change dramatically. Ask Tara, you know, what she thought was real, you know, goes out the door. Yeah, completely out the door. And that's reality. That's how God works, you know, because it's not your plan. You have no idea. And once God blesses you so much, then you're relieved of the desire of that idea, you know, and it's gone. And you just go, what? You know, I didn't do anything. You know, it just went away, you know, and that is how it works. It's a recapitulation. Yeah. So you have more soul than you can imagine. You know, just give me the time it takes to help you recapitulate. Yeah. Because if you don't put your time into it, then you won't receive my light. Then you won't recapitulate. If you put your time into it, and like in Tara's case, you know, I didn't give her the opportunity to choice to put her time into it. You know, I initiated, you know, I pushed, you know, the light into the body, into the mind, into the emotions, you know, and that sometimes is necessary. You know, she's not a negative person, but it is that way with everybody, you know. And everybody changes, you know. And because one's a student and they go through that, that makes them capable of helping another person to know that the Lord has these abilities. And it's not, and their pride is gone because they know it wasn't their ability. They didn't ask for anything, they didn't do anything, he did it. He literally ripped that thing out and put the person back whole. Yeah. So realize that is how it works. Yeah. So be patient with me. Be patient with the time and the light that it takes for people to recapitulate. Yeah. We recapitulate every 7 years as a potential. Yeah. So give yourself every 7 years, you start off as 1, you work your way up, you know, just keep pushing every year to be a better person. And you will recapitulate that really great person you were. You know, with me in this world, you know, you really have this ability. So just know, you know, it doesn't matter if you're 80 years old, you're going to be 88 or 87. You know, just keep knowing every day, every year, you are recapitulating as long as you stay alive. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much.